Alicia's been around for years and years and years. She started out with us as a sales agent, and that's a really funny story that I will tell. But she climbed through being a sales agent. She was the first employee to lead in our first satellite office down in Somerville. So she's seen all the do's and don'ts, and she's seen what works and what doesn't work in an expansion market. And then she climbed the ranks to become the director of sales for the whole company. She championed the way the showrooms look. So if you live in an area where you walk into a beautiful showroom and it's all laid out for you, and pretty much every office except the upstate. The upstate's still very much an office with a little showroom, but anywhere else you walk into, you're walking into a design center, and she pioneered what that design center should look like. She stayed up at night dreaming about it, worked with everybody to get all that stuff, all the representation in there, all the selections in there.
Right.
And so it was just natural that as we grew, she kind of moved over and became this director of client experience. But in that client experience column, there is a set of selections people that work in design. So you have head of design and all these different things that are kind of the support side of client experience. Once you get in the system, once you onboard and come in, she runs that piece of the business, which is, what am I getting? She sets, she manages the team that runs your first look, your site visit, your showroom experience, your selections meetings, your proposal creation, your contracts that are coming to you. And she's been around forever. But the funny thing about that was, and I don't know if I've ever told this story on the podcast, but I met Alicia. She was a very, very, very successful realtor in the Somerville area. One of the top, if not the number one, in the top 3 year over year with a really big brokerage down there in that area. And she had actually reached out to me before we even went to Somerville and said, "Hey, do you guys build down here?" And my answer was, "Of course we do." And so she had clients, and I set her up for a discovery call. She got on the discovery call with the clients. I went through the whole pitch, and they were like family friends of hers, I think these clients were. And I went through the whole pitch, got to onboarding, pitched onboarding. They were excited. And I was like, "Yeah, I'll send you
And she sniffed.
I'll send you a sheet." Because back then we didn't even have like web pay. I was like, "I'll send you a sheet with all the instructions. You can make out a check or a wire and send it to us. And then you get onboarded, we'll start doing your plan." So we're going through that whole pitch. Well, they just disappeared. And, months later, I'm at Vicious Biscuit in Nexton Square, which is such a premonition of the fact that we're on Nexton Square now with that showroom.
Yeah.
Right across from our showroom is Vicious Biscuit. Shout out Vicious Biscuit. I met her there with my wife, and I thought she was an older lady. I don't know why. I'm just like, normally, you're like, "Hey, super successful realtor, whatever." Like, I'm thinking she's older than me, and we show up, and I'm like, maybe that's her daughter. Because Alicia looks like she's, 18 years old.
Yeah.
And we go in and talk, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm looking for a change." And I sold her on the vision, and she's like, "I accept." And then I was thinking, oh my God, I hope this works, because she's used to making a lot of money in real estate, and she's going to give it all away to come work for us. But after she started, I was going back through our social media, and I was like, "Whatever happened to that family?" She said, "Well, funny story. I told them, that guy's full of crap. I don't trust them. I don't think they're a legitimate company." And I told them not to onboard. And then 6 months later, she came to work, and they built with another builder. And they said, "Alicia, what the heck? You told us not to go with them, and now you work for them?" And she's like, "Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I got it wrong." But that's the funniest thing in the world to think of, is like,
I remember
the first connection, and she talked clients out of working with us. And then 6 months later, she came on board, and man, she's rode the wave. Like, she's been there for the good, the bad, the ugly, and helped build a lot of the great processes. And she was one of the best sales agents we'd ever hired. But
she stacked them.
yeah, no, she's done a phenomenal job, man. And like, she's a marquee player. She was the first person that we elevated to a leadership role. You brought that up.
Yeah. Very first person.
She was the very first one where we said, "It is you and I, and now her." And that was a big deal. It was a really big deal. And of the existing leadership team, she's the oldest.
She was the first and the oldest.
Yeah, she was the first one, and of the core group that we have. And yeah, it's just funny to look back on it now, because that girl bleeds Barndo. Like, if you see her in public, she's 99.9% chance she's wearing a Barndo t-shirt, Barndo hoodie, a Barndo something. Yeah. And she's a pioneer of the brand. And it started with her saying, "I don't trust these guys."
I remember that. I remember you calling me super excited about it. But I didn't know anything about the people until later.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alicia. It's fine.